Aw yeah, shit's about to get real in this house. Details about all new species in the Halo universe, the death of Kilo 5 in Operation Offscreen, and the profit of swag. This is gonna be off the hizzy. So no profit of swag? Welcome back, Canonites. Saturday saw the release of the new Canon Fodder article, and boy was it great. The second community Q&A session, and like before, it was a great read. So, let's dive in. Before we get into the Q&A proper, Grim gave us a bit of a mini how-to regarding asking questions for such a Q&A, mostly addressing questions that are a guaranteed no answer. Essentially no what is the fate of X, or will Y ever come back, no questions about gameplay features or release dates for things, etc, etc. Pretty simple stuff. Also, Halo 9 Definitive Anniversary Remastered Game of the Year Edition, confirmed. But no, on to the serious stuff, the questions. Same format as always, folks. How was the present personal Thel 'Vadam's sword, the Prophet's Bane, modified or crafted? There were, and are, various models of Energy Sword. The most ubiquitous designs be the more widely produced models created in Covenant assembly forges. There are, however, a healthy number of personalized designs that are more singularly crafted by master swordsmiths. The rank of Zealot has been very inconsistent throughout the franchise, with Zealots being entirely yellow in Halo Combat Evolved, yellow and khaki in Halo 2, and crimson in Halo Reach, with recent additions to Canon seen in Broken Circle and Halo 2 Anniversary, the former introducing a new rank/title of Field Commander, and the latter changing the uniform once again to yellow and black. I'm wondering if some of these changes are entirely retcons of previous designs, or that the uniforms we've seen over the years are indicative of different positions or titles. Zealots are a military order with their own internal structure and rankings that varied from fleet to fleet and even chapter to chapter. Now, kind of a non-answer, but still pretty interesting. I like this idea of different chapters of Zealots, which makes sense considering the wide variety of roles that Zealots fill. I do hope that we'll eventually get proper explanations on the variances, though. Zealots are a diverse group, a title more than a rank. It's important to remember that while all gold-armored Sangheili in Halos CE and 2 were Zealots, gold armor denotes a command rank, not necessarily a Sangheili's status as a Zealot. Sangheili generals are a good example of this rule. What are the origins of the stone structures on Installation 05? Human xenoarchaeologists continue to analyze artifacts recovered from Delta Halo and Gamma Halo, though on-site work was stemmed by the lack of debitage, as well as maintenance and conservation efforts of local sentinels. Another question I'm sad didn't get a more specific answer, but I'm hoping that means 343 is planning to address this in some manner in upcoming media. The answer does at least lend credence to Cortana's assertion that the structures predate the ring, as no evidence of construction on site has been found. Can a smart AI truly alter or choose its avatar? The only examples I've seen were BB and Max/Loki changing their avatars. All smart AI have a holographic avatar they use for interaction. The image created by the AI to represent itself seems to be drawn from the emotive responses at the base of human behavior and are almost universally male or female human in various form of costume. However, some do take on abstract forms, with rare examples appearing as geometric objects or silhouettes with perhaps one or two key human features, like a mouth or eyes. These avatars are then customized after achieving full consciousness, but smart AI find it extremely difficult to substantially alter their original appearance. The reason that AI systems choose these avatars, are motivated to display them during interactions with humans, and cannot easily change them is not well understood. Attempts to eliminate this behavior have resulted in catastrophic failures and personality aberrations. I would quickly point out that Mac and Loki didn't really change their avatar, but were in fact two distinct AI that occupied the same data center. One would be fragmented among Harvest Jotun farming units, while the other would control the harvesting operations. The two would switch after an unknown period of time, allowing them to avoid rampancy. The two were active since at least 2468, prior to their destruction in 2525. Further, the two looked virtually identical, minus a few small details. Mac looked dirty like from farm work with gray eyes, while Loki was cleaner with red eyes. Anyway, the answer itself. It would seem to indicate that an AI changing its appearance is challenging, if not borderline impossible. If this means the changes seen in Cortana between games are canon, though, I cannot say. Since the Halo 2 multiplayer maps are now made canon, i.e. District, Headlong, Ivory Tower, and Turf, I've got to wondering, are all of Halo's multiplayer maps now canon, or just the ones within the Master Chief Collection? And if so, are they all under the Anvil Initiative? The wargame simulation maps are most often based on actual locations and/or events, though map designers have the freedom to create nigh innumerable variations for the sake of research and diversified training. Anvil Station is equipped with wargame simulation facilities that can pull from whatever established map variants are deemed necessary by program officials. Is the M145D Rhino still active post-2552? There are some that still exist, though their use was sporadic at best during the latter half of the war, in large part due to the lack of resources to put towards further development of the original prototypes. Since the end of the war, however, the UNSC has begun looking into resurrecting various programs such as these, as the climate for re-emerging development has improved. The M145D Rhino initiative in particular has become somewhat of a pet project for Isaac Richardson, one of the UNSC's top procurement officers. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to be keeping my eye out for this Richardson character in future media. God knows I'd love to drive a Rhino in some future game. Has the Strident-class frigate replaced other frigate classes following the Human Covenant War? While the Strident class represents one of the newest generations of vehicles within the UNSC fleet, they should not be seen as a direct replacement for other frigate classes. What was the fate of Luro Taralumi and his fleet after Operation Warm Blanket? Luro Taralumi is alive and is considered dangerous due to his zealous devotion to the Great Journey and adherence to Covenant ideals. In the wake of the power vacuum created by the Sangheili absence, Taralumi has used his previous station within the Covenant in an attempt to consolidate power for ends still unknown. For those who don't know, Luro Taralumi was the supreme commander of the Third Fleet of Glorious Consequence, seen in the Halo Legends episode The Package. Post-war, sounds like Luro has formed his own Covenant faction, or is at least trying. I find it interesting his supposed devotion to the Great Journey even in light of the revelations of the events of Halo 3. Even the Hesduros Sangheili, who made up the foundation of Jules' Covenant, had forsaken the idea of the Great Journey even though they adhered to the idea of Forerunners being gods. It's an interesting revelation is all I'm getting at. When was Michael Stanforth, also known as the Vice Admiral, born? Vice Admiral Michael Stanforth was born on 15th July, 2486. Following that is a quote from Halo The Fall of Reach, the 2010 edition, interestingly page 117, which makes note of Stanforth's age in comparison to Halsey. Was the Halo Bible detailed enough and planned far ahead enough that people who work for Bungie, who had worked on the Halo games and had seen the Bible, could predict the role the Didact and the Librarian would play in Halo 4? Predict the events of Halo 4? The mystique surrounding the Halo Bible can be traced back to Halo's earliest origins. Let's look back on an old interview with Halo alumni Robert McLeese, a man whose mastery of both pen and paintbrush helped make it possible for Halo to even exist in the first place. What exactly is the Halo Bible? Rob responds, for lack of a more romanticized description, it is the ponderous collection of lies, damned lies, and half-truths from which the entire Halo universe is constructed. It is the tome which informs core fiction decisions, and is in turn expanded by them. It is that indispensable cheat sheet that helps us keep all the stories we've told straight in our collective heads. Admittedly, we've not always been the best at this, but I think we've gotten better. What is the point of such a document? It's not an actual Bible. Joe Staten calls it a repository for good ideas. So what is it? Rob responds, actually it's both. There are plenty of good ideas and hooks and whatnot in there, but it is also used to educate our partners about specific events of the Halo universe. Whether it is the naming conventions of a particular alien species or of a certain UNSC shipyard, the capabilities of any given weapon or vehicle, in the game or in the fiction, as these things are not always the same, or the motivations of each group or individual. For all intents and purposes, the same holds true to this day. While the Halo Bible does indeed include plans within plans for stories yet to be told, it is more accurately the nebula from which the stars and worlds of the Halo universe are incubated and eventually wrought into existence, hopefully to shine brightly and continue to bathe fans in the warmth of their tales for a long time to come. What is the name of the frigate FFG-127, and what is the name and class of the DD-993? The FFG-127, seen during the opening cinematic to Halo 3 ODST, was a Charon-class light frigate named the UNSC Chioglosia. Chioglosia was crippled during the beginning stages of the Battle of Earth on October 20th, 2552, as the crew tried valiantly to hold off the Prophet of Regret's fleet of sacred consecration. The DD-993 seen in The Babysitter, Halo Legends, is the UNSC Kronstadt, a Diligence-class vessel that began its life as a much older CMA peacekeeping ship and not a mainline warship. It had been retired and mothballed for decades when the UNSC resurrected it from storage and retrofitted it for service during the war with the Covenant. Is Corporal Palmer from the Halo Evolution story Palace Hotel Spartan Sarah Palmer? No. will the variations in Sangheili appearance and armor in games be explained canonically? While more will eventually be discussed regarding this topic, we've touched on some of this on multiple occasions. Physiologically, the Sangheili encompass a range of various canonical phenotypes, with more pronounced variations being seen in mandible and skull shape as well as skin texture. Sangheili armor is something we plan on discussing more at length, but the short answer is that the armor can be found in an incredible variety of styles and colorations. Some designed for specific roles and mission objectives, while others stem from more hierarchical-based origins. For example, a ranger's combat harness can come in multiple variations, but it's worn to perform a specific function. Other harnesses, and even colors to some degree, are more ceremonial in nature. Somewhat complicating the matter is the nature of Sangheili-derived livery choices versus the tendencies preferred by the Covenant specifically. A much more in-depth answer than we've gotten before. I personally can't wait to see how 343 is going to explain the different types of armor seen between the games. What is the size of the D81 LRT Condor? Here are the dimensions of the Condor. Length, 140.4 feet, or 42.8 meters. Width, 82.6 feet, or 25.2 meters. Height, 42.5 feet, or 13 meters. And bonus info for variants. The D80, original model built on the D77 Pelican body. Its slipspace drives were limited, with transit times roughly double that of larger, more efficient systems in use at the time. The D81, post-war model using more efficient slipspace drive and excess military D79 Pelican frames. The upper cockpit, which housed the weapons and sensor operator, is often either stripped out or converted into VIP seating. The D81 WP. The WP, or Weapon Package variation, is offered by Misria Armory for sale to the UNSC, bonded paramilitary units, and planetary security forces. This variation retains the D79's dual autocannon turret. The U81, unofficial designation for refit Condors used by ONI for reconnaissance and surveillance. Outward indistinguishable from civilian craft, they incorporate an advanced electronic warfare suite, extensive passive sensor array, and military-grade slipspace drive. Occasionally classed as a sub-prowler due to its covert mission profile, despite lacking passive cloaking or sensor-baffling coatings. In games with an Anniversary Edition, CEA and H2A, should we take the new graphics as canon over the old ones, one example being the Gravemind's massive overhaul? In most instances, the visuals depicted in an Anniversary Edition should be taken as the definitive representations. The Gravemind as depicted in Halo 2 Anniversary is one such instance. How did June A266 escape from Reach? While it is widely known that Spartan 3 June A266, the only surviving member of Noble Team, is currently serving in vital capacities for the Spartan 4 program, the details of his survival and escape from Reach remain buried under fistfuls of black ink and red tape. Sad that we didn't get an actual answer, but I can only hope that means we'll learn some details in some of the books coming out later this year. I also can't help but wonder if that fistful comment is a subtle nod to the fan comic A Fistful of Arrows by Levi Hofmeyr. Sorry if I butchered your last name. I may be reading too much into things though. So that brings the Q&A to a close, and like before, it was pretty damn good. Moving forward to the next section, we clear up a bit of a misunderstanding about one of Halo Nightfall's second stories. In Walk the Path, we get a glimpse at Oni flagging certain companies so that they can listen in for any number of reasons. It was thought by fans that all these companies had a location on Cedra, which, I'll be honest, doesn't make a whole lot of sense given the nature of Cedra as this backwater outer colony. Still, it's always nice for 343 to go out of their way and clarify things like this. The next section once again confirms that the young girl seen in the Halo 3 trailer Starry Night is Ellie Bloom from Episode 1 of Hunt the Truth, before wrapping up with an announcement that 343 is looking for images of the Yanmaya, the Buggers, for their next Halo Universe Snapshots assignment. This of course then brings us to the new Halo Universe entries. This week we have the UH-144A Falcon, Installation 03 or Gamma Halo, the Gravemind, and an update to the D-81 Long Range Transport or Condor. Most of these articles are repeat information for the more canon savvy, but contain plenty of interesting information for those who aren't as well versed as myself. The big update this week was to the Condor article, which was the stuff I just read off in the Q&A session. So that brings this week to a close. The Q&A was just wonderful overall, and I'm happy to say I got another one of my questions answered, even if it was a little vague. Also, be sure to check out the Halo Universe articles. Like I said, repeat if you're more canon savvy, but otherwise, I think you should check them out. Later today, we'll see the release of Hunt the Truth Episode 2, and I can't wait to dive into it when it comes out. For now, this has been Halo Canon, and I'll see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. It means more than I can express in a few minutes of audio. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share it around on whatever social media you see fit, and all that jazz. Thank you so much. Your support is everything. I would not be where I am without you. Thanks.